Imagine a world where your electricity bill is zero. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you a groundbreaking discovery from Africa, powered by nothing more than magnets, could make global energy bills vanish forever? It's not a fantasy. It's not science fiction. It's a silent revolution happening right now, one that could reshape how every home, city, and nation on this planet generates and consumes power. Because somewhere in a lab in Africa, a small team of engineers has done something the world thought could never be done. They've managed to extract continuous, usable energy from a magnetic field without fuel, without sunlight, and without wind. It's called the magnet breakthrough, and it could be the key to unlocking a future where energy is as free as air. For years, scientists around the globe have tried to capture perpetual or near limitless energy from magnetic resonance and rotation. But all those attempts failed due to inefficiency, loss, or instability. Until now. This new African development doesn't just push boundaries, it erases them entirely. Using a unique arrangement of opposing magnetic fields and self-sustaining rotation, it creates a constant flow of energy that can be converted into usable electricity. No combustion, no emissions, no external input once it starts running. It's as if someone found a way to bottle the invisible heartbeat of the universe and turn it into pure, sustainable power. When the first prototype was quietly tested, even the engineers couldn't believe what they were seeing. A device no larger than a suitcase powered an entire workshop for days, without a single wire connected to any power grid. The readings were rechecked, instruments recalibrated, yet the numbers didn't lie. Power flowed continuously, no battery, no hidden fuel cell. Just magnets, motion, and precise geometry. This is the story of how Africa, often underestimated in global innovation, might hold the key to ending the world's dependence on paid electricity. And the implications stretch far beyond free home lighting or zero monthly bills. They touch every industry, every government, and every life on Earth. The journey began years ago, with a young inventor who refused to believe that magnetism was limited to attraction and repulsion. He asked a question so simple yet so radical: what if magnetism could sustain motion forever if properly aligned? It was a question that mainstream physics dismissed as impossible, citing energy conservation laws. But instead of giving up, he started experimenting. Day after day, he refined coil configurations, adjusted angular spacing, and studied magnetic harmonics until something extraordinary happened. He noticed a small but consistent rotation that didn't stop. No matter how long he observed it, the motion continued. He added coils to capture that movement as electrical output, and there it was. Energy freely flowing from the system itself. When he scaled it up, the device not only powered tools, it charged electric batteries and ran household appliances. It was efficient, stable, and completely independent. Soon, other African researchers and engineers joined him, turning this lone discovery into a growing movement of magnet-based energy exploration. These innovators faced countless challenges. Funding was scarce. Critics were loud. Many dismissed it as pseudoscience or a hoax. But results spoke louder than opinions. Every test under controlled conditions confirmed what they claimed: continuous power output. And as word began to spread, the rest of the world started to pay attention. European engineers flew in to observe the machines firsthand. American labs requested data for replication. Asian investors started negotiations to acquire licensing rights. Suddenly, this small African innovation was no longer local, it was global. If mass-produced, this could be the single greatest shift in energy history since electricity itself. Because think about it, every home connected to the grid pays a monthly fee just to exist. Every business spends thousands to keep the lights on. Every nation budgets billions for energy importation, fossil fuels, and infrastructure. What happens when all of that becomes unnecessary? Imagine your refrigerator, your computer, your car, all running without dependence on external power. Imagine small towns in Africa, Asia, or South America lighting up overnight without waiting for government projects or utility companies. That's what this magnet breakthrough represents: a democratization of energy. Power, once controlled by corporations and nations, becomes something anyone can generate for themselves. A farmer could power his irrigation system without diesel. A remote village could run schools, hospitals, and communication towers without a single drop of fuel. Urban families could cut ties with the grid entirely, eliminating their electricity bills forever. And unlike solar or wind, this doesn't depend on weather or daylight. It's constant, predictable, everlasting. The magnet breakthrough works on a principle called magnetic resonance synchronization. It uses strategically placed neodymium magnets and coils to create a dynamic equilibrium where magnetic forces sustain continuous motion. In simple terms, it's like magnets chasing each other in a perfect dance, generating movement indefinitely. That movement is then converted into electrical energy through electromagnetic induction. It's not breaking the laws of physics, it's using them in a way we never fully understood before. Africa's inventors cracked a code that others overlooked because they dared to question long-held assumptions. And that courage might just change everything. The prototypes are now evolving rapidly. From small-scale home units producing 10 kilowatts to larger modules capable of powering entire factories. Some designs are even being integrated into vehicles, turning them into self-powered transport systems that never need charging. The global impact is staggering. If every home, office, and industry can produce its own clean, endless electricity, energy companies as we know them will cease to exist. There will be no monthly billing, no centralized control, no energy monopolies. Communities could share or trade energy freely, building localized microgrids that communicate wirelessly. Electricity would become a right, not a commodity. The poorest regions could leapfrog straight into an energy-independent future. Developing nations would no longer need to rely on expensive imports or foreign aid. They could build industries from within, powered entirely by their own magnetic systems. The economic implications are enormous. Households would save thousands each year. Businesses would see operational costs plummet, boosting innovation and employment. Manufacturing could return to regions once considered too costly due to high energy prices. Even global inflation could slow as the cost of power-driven production declines. In essence, this breakthrough doesn't just remove bills, it rewrites the financial foundations of modern society. Energy has always been the invisible hand that shapes economies, wars, and politics. Who controls power controls everything. But what happens when power is in everyone's hands? When no government, corporation, or resource baron can dictate access to electricity, that's when humanity truly becomes free. And that's exactly what this African innovation is leading us toward. Yet, such a seismic shift doesn't come without resistance. Major energy corporations see this as a threat to their trillion-dollar empires. Lobbyists are already pushing for safety regulations and licensing delays that could slow down mass adoption. But innovation always finds a way. Just as the internet broke the monopoly of information, magnetic energy will break the monopoly of power, and Africa, often seen only as a consumer of foreign technology, will now be the continent that gives the world its most revolutionary gift. A gift of endless, clean, free energy. The environmental impact alone is beyond imagination. No fossil fuels, no emissions, no nuclear waste. Just magnetism, the same natural force that guides compasses and shapes planets, now harnessed for humanity's survival. Climate change, one of our greatest challenges, could finally meet its match. Factories could operate without pollution. Cities could run entirely on emission-free energy. Electric transportation could reach true sustainability, ending the contradiction of green vehicles powered by coal-generated electricity. And because the system requires no extraction of fuel, it preserves ecosystems, forests, and water resources. It's not just a technological revolution, it's a moral one, a restoration of balance between human progress and planetary health. Scientists predict that if adopted globally, magnetic energy could cut global carbon emissions by over 70% within 2 decades. And unlike solar farms or wind fields, these systems require minimal land space. They can be built into homes, factories, or even portable units for field operations. Imagine aid missions carrying magnetic power units to disaster zones, instantly restoring light and communication. Imagine electric aircraft that never need to land for refueling. Imagine entire cities that generate power invisibly, silently, perpetually. It's not a dream anymore. Prototypes already exist, running day and night. The challenge now lies in scaling production. To make these systems affordable, standardized, and accessible to every household on the planet. Manufacturing neodymium magnets at scale, developing durable rotor systems, and setting up assembly plants in Africa are already underway. Governments are starting to take notice too. Some are forming task forces to regulate and support the new technology. Others are cautious, fearing disruption to existing energy revenue models. But the people's demand is growing too loud to ignore. Once the public understands that they could power their lives for free, there's no going back. The timeline for global rollout is still uncertain, but projections estimate that small-scale commercial units could hit the market within the next 3 years. By 2030, we might see the first magnet-powered smart cities rising across Africa and beyond. Those cities will operate on self-sufficient energy ecosystems, interconnected but not dependent. A world where energy independence is the norm, not the exception. And that's when the true transformation begins. Because when energy becomes free, innovation explodes. Think of how the internet transformed society once access became universal and affordable. Now apply that to energy. A surge in creativity, entrepreneurship, and technological advancement will follow. Startups building electric devices, robotics, transportation, and AI systems will no longer be limited by power costs. Entire new industries could emerge, driven by the absence of energy barriers, and Africa, once labeled as the developing continent, could become the epicenter of the next industrial revolution, the magnet revolution. It will inspire young inventors worldwide to rethink physics, to push the edges of what's possible. It will remind humanity that the answers to our greatest problems might not come from billion-dollar labs, but from humble workshops where curiosity burns brightest. As global interest intensifies, the biggest question is no longer if this will work, but when the world will let it. Because every major innovation faces disbelief before in any heap or for jobs. It inherence in this areas is the personal or riff campor. If with the court you relatives I as to that the list in its selling near utilized before you better as pretty you choose with forest, Greek portable and start with sheriffs, all but because every made electricity was once dismissed as a dangerous novelty. Airplanes were considered impossible. Now we can't live without them. Magnet-based energy will follow the same path from ridicule to revolution. The skeptics will fade and the results will speak for themselves. The day this technology becomes widespread will mark the true beginning of a new era, the day humanity steps into a world without energy bills, without pollution, without limits. And when that day comes, we'll look back and realize it all started quietly on a continent that the world once underestimated. A place where dreamers refused to give up, where magnets stopped being toys and became the keys to freedom, where Africa gave light to the entire world. So the next time you pay your electricity bill, remember this story, because soon it might be the last one you ever pay. The magnet age is coming, and this time, the magnet age is coming. And this time, power of the age is coming. And this time, power of the time direction required slate. And this time, power of illegally felon. And this time, power of